Hello everyone, this is Professor Ratajczyk and I wanted to talk a little bit about the Business Intelligence Report Checkpoint 2 and as it will relate to Checkpoint 3 as well. We are now getting into what is referred to in our industry as granular level of details. Checkpoint 1 was asking you to review the Caesars case and without doing anything creative, answer the questions, write the business problem, state the assumptions related to it, and define the initial set of benefits. Okay, so now in checkpoint 2, we're going to discuss the technical details to complete the model, discuss the problems you had with the model, and discuss the solutions you used to solve the technical problems. Now you might be asking yourself, what model, right? Like, he had us read a case, what model are you talking about? Well, let's go to this document here that I put together to talk through checkpoint 2. So here's the context. You are a lead business analyst for Caesars. Your team has to complete a project that helps Caesars improve their data quality and culture. So the way that I wrote this is, when you read the case, the big case, it talked about hotel data, transactions, improving customer service. Fantastic work, fantastic story. You worked on the spectrum analysis of it with your other activities for the course. Now what we're doing is we're going behind the scenes here. And in order to do what Caesars did in that case, they had a whole heck of a lot of other projects or mini projects, or if you're a Star Wars fan, kind of like prequel projects to do before they could accomplish what they did in that case. So what you're going to do, and you have to be very careful with what you're listening to here, is you must plan, design, and work through an analysis of the project, not of the model, okay? You are not going to be sitting here analyzing p-values, r-squared, f-statistics, coefficients, and things like that. You're not going to be whipping together a dashboard. You're not going to be building a data warehouse in hat-sized virtual lab like you did in InfoSystems or in SQL Server Management Studio. You're not actually physically going to do those things. But you as the business analyst are going to write about those things in a theoretical sense. Okay? And that's where this comes back. Discuss the technical skills needed. Discuss the technical problems you had or you would have. Okay? So discuss the technical problems that you expect to come up. Might be the better way to think of that you expect to come up. And then discuss the ideal solutions that you would employ. For example, if you find out that your data set is dirty, like one column has decimals in the wrong place, or they have dollar signs that are actually text, right? Like instead of just being the currency format in Microsoft Excel, it's actually somebody typed in a dollar sign. So now it's text and not currency, it's not a numeric value. How are you going to go about completing that or fixing that as a technical problem? Okay, so again, you're not going to actually do the work. If you need to do the work in order to write about it, by all means. But the idea here isn't that you're building a data warehouse, you're going to give me a regression model, that you're going to give me a data dashboard. If it helps you to do that, to complete the work and experience these problems, then by all means. But if you're like, hey, I love doing data dashboards, I'm going to think about the data that you gave me and I'll get a scratch piece of paper and start plotting out what you think that dashboard should look like, color scheme, basically you're designing, right? I mean, you're designing things. You're not building it, you're designing, right? And the main distinction that is I don't want you to have to repeat the previous classes that you took to get here, right? Like you shouldn't repeat those classes. So you're talking as a business analyst or a project manager when you're addressing these things here. So a substantial amount of data is provided to you. Like I have tons of data that I'm giving you, okay? Now, you have to be careful because depending on the project you choose, some of that data might not be useful to you. Okay, so you need to write about that. For example, going back to this, when you say, oh, what technical problems? Well, the professor or Caesars Entertainment gave me a lot of useless data. So in order for me to complete the project or spec it out or design it, one of our plans is to identify which data we have to delete, which columns or which variables are not acceptable to use in our project. Okay, so I give you an example here. Example, the variable, like there's a variable or field name, a column in your spreadsheet called variable time zone, time zone. It's irrelevant because the casino is in West Coast time zone and there aren't any other time zones. I mean, it's not like casinos, entertainment on the strip is in the Midwest and East Coast all at the same time. Like, this isn't like a casino that's 5,000 miles wide, right? It might seem that way if you've ever been to the strip. You know, the casinos go on for miles, but they don't go on for that many miles. So it's in one time zone, so it seems like it's an excessive field name. It's all it does is helps clog up the memory in a computer or on a server or in a select query. It doesn't offer functionality or purpose. So if you come across something like that in the project, as you design your project work, and you delete it, you need to write about it. Because I consider that one of the problems. Okay. Well, I've got too much data. I've got too much useful data. Here it is. I got time zone. It's useless. Here's why. And then in section 6, you reflect on section 5 and say, okay, in section 5, I identified that I have some extra data, time zone, it's useless, blah, blah, blah. The solution to that is I deleted it. I made a copy or a backup copy with all the original data, but then I deleted it for the purpose of the project. Okay? Because don't always think of technical problems as, oh no, the server went down, or my file didn't save, or my file's corrupt. Don't think of technical in terms of like that computer science kind of stuff. Think of it as in you're doing technical work. Like you're in a STEM-based program in a class, and it's all technical. So you have creative license here. Okay? You may use previous course materials or find your own to enhance your work. I'm not going to provide you 3 textbooks for the 3 courses you took before you got to this. But if you need to reflect back on your previous course or do a Google search to help you out, then that's what you need to do. Here are the 3 projects, and I'll just zoom this in so we have a good shot of this on the screen. Again, you are just designing and planning these out, okay? You are not going to be building them as a requirement. If you want to build them yourself for fun or because it helps you, then by all means. But I am not requiring you to hand in a data warehouse. I'm not requiring you to hand in a dashboard. And I'm not requiring you to hand in a categorical regression model. Okay? I did, however, put where those classes are located that teach you these things. And it's nice and neat, one for each class. Project 1, assess and improve data quality and provide recommendations for purposes of data warehouse. Okay, so all of these have assess and improve. So you will need to, when I say improve data quality, you need to write about it. That's again, I'm not going to ask you to go into your spreadsheet. If you have a column that has text, the $ is text instead of numerical value, I'm not going to have you go through your data set, clean it all up and hand it in to me. Okay. But what I expect you to write about is we have identified that there is some text in columns that should all be numeric. The appropriate plan to fix this is the trim function, the clean function, a find and replace function, whatever it is, okay? Whatever it is. And that goes for, now number 2 is a little different because number 1 is still talking about like metadata and data dictionaries and how important that stuff is, right? So you would, in number 1, in part of your plan for number 1, I would expect you to have an entity relationship diagram or a data flow diagram that shows how different data is connected to each other. Because I'm giving you different sheets. Not only that, but you could take things to the first, second, or third normal form if you feel that's right. Again, not do that work, but plan it out. So you know what? Okay, here's a spreadsheet. It's got 30 columns in it. What I'm going to do here, what I would do here is these are the facts, these are the dimensions. I would name this set of columns, dimensional table, payout. This one over here is dimensional table food selection. Plan it out a little bit, but you don't have to do the work. You don't have to turn in any designs. You would literally just be writing about it. Number two, again, assess and improve data quality for a data dashboard. And you don't need to build the data dashboard. If it helps you, great. But what are the things you have to think about with the data dashboard? What data are you going to combine? Right? Remember the data dashboard. If I give you multiple sheets, similar to the data warehouse one, I'm going to give you customers and customer information, but those customers also have hotel data. And it's not in the same sheet, so you're going to have to do a VLOOKUP. Okay, great. That is literally one of the things. We will need to be able to do VLOOKUPs, or if it was a data warehouse, we would need to be able to do joins. So this is all the theoretical work that goes into making it happen if you were to do this actually. Okay. Next one. Assess and improve for purposes of a categorical regression model. So think back to the pregnancy model, the plenty of fish model, many of those different models where you have categorical data, like text, that you convert into binary. So you have to plan that out. Do you have all the data in one sheet? Do you need to bring it over? Do you need a VLOOKUP? Just like in item number 2 there, should I bring over the hotel data? Because maybe I want to have, customer data, but then I also want to say, stayed in a hotel, yes or no. Stayed in a hotel more than one day, yes or no. Favorite food is Cabana food, yes or no. Favorite food is hot dogs, yes or no. That's going to be all in different sheets. So you would write about, again, design and plan. You don't have to do the work. You don't have to actually make a categorical regression model, but you would have to be writing about how you would set that up. Okay. So those are the 3. Whatever your comfort zone is, go right ahead. I'm not going to judge you if you all decide dashboards because they're fun and easy and graphical. Or, what I would suggest you do, because we're going to work together for the final 3 weeks of the course, because this is what you're going to be locked into. You choose which one you think you'll find enjoyable, but also think about your future employment. If some of you are looking for new jobs or jobs at different companies, what is it you're more interested in? Are you more interested in the information systems data warehouse side? Well, maybe you want to choose that. If you're more interested in the data visualization, descriptive statistics, well, choose number 2. But if you're more interested in setting up data for purposes of predicting the future, which is on that right side of the BI spectrum that we've talked about, then choose number 3. Okay. So feel free to ask me questions. You are going to get a lot of data here. This is a draft. Okay, so what I'm expecting you to do is attack it, plan things out. I mean, if it's sloppy, like you're like, okay, I'll just give you an example of sloppy here. Plan is to separate out customer names and dates at casino with primary and artificial keys that lead to gaming machine data tables and payout tables. Issues that we will encounter are creating keys and making sure that there aren't any duplicates. So this is what I'm getting at. Like, if you just spell it out this way for your first draft, that's fine, because you're doing technical work. You're planning stuff. Just give me your plan. I'll read through it early next week, give you feedback, and that's when you start working a little deeper and fleshing out the sentences here into paragraphs that respond. Okay? the big part of this week is getting comfortable with the data and identifying what you're going to use or what you're not going to use. So, and then writing something down so that I know that you're attacking this. It might not be in full paragraph format, might not have every variable thought through yet, and that's okay. So hopefully this helps. I mean, it's supposed to be fun too. I mean, I say this all the time. I love what I teach. I love that you're here learning this stuff. Yeah, it is a lot of work. It's a lot of technical work, a lot of thinking and planning, and sometimes we like to just get to the finish line. But a good plan, a good strategy is huge. Oftentimes we have to redo our work because we're too fast. Do it right the first time, and you won't have to fix it. I give you a bunch of other kind of quotes and analogies too there, but go ahead, play around with it. This is probably what's going to take you the most time this week out of all the activities. So, thanks.